Want to welcome in former Trump Deputy National Security Advisor and author of Revolution, Trump, Washington, and We the People, board member at the American Conservative Union, KT McFarland, back with us this morning. KT, it is so nice to see you. Joe Biden, he abandoned the debt ceiling negotiations, got on Air Force One, and now he's 13 hours ahead of us here on the East Coast in Japan. What does the president need to do while he is in Japan? To me, you got to walk in there and do two things: say that we support all of our allies in that region, and also reassure that we're economically stable back here at home as this debt ceiling battle goes on.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. What President Biden has to do is instill confidence, because the elephant in the room of all of those other members of the G7, they're going to be looking at him and saying, wait a minute. You know, America's divided. You can't get your act together. You can't govern yourselves. You can't deal with the debt. You can't deal with your spending. You certainly can't deal with the divisions in your own politics. And the other thing he has to do is to really give them the example that America and our system, our free market system, our democracy, can work in the 21st century, because each one of these countries is hearing it whispered in their ear from China to say, look, America can't get its act together. America's got a spending addiction. America's so divided at home. You need to follow China, and you need to follow the China money, and you need to follow the China model. And I'm not sure Joe Biden is up to doing any of those.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, what he should do and what you think he will do, very different. I mean, do you think that, because every time he goes and does these global events, he talks about climate change. It seems to be the priority for him. Do you think he's going to focus and continue to focus on climate change versus all the other things that he should be talking about?
Of course. Why are they doing climate change? You know, if you peel back the onion a little bit, so what is climate change? What does that argument do? Well, it shuts down the American economy, right? Because it shuts down one of our most prosperous industries, which is the energy industry. If President Biden really wanted to fix the economy, really wanted to fix Ukraine, most of our problems, he would turn that energy industry back on. We have enough oil and natural gas to power the world, and we can do it cheaply and effectively and safely, and yet he won't do it. And then the other thing, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, you mentioned Ukraine, and since you went there, I might as well ask you, do you expect any progress on peace in Ukraine? Because Biden's got, you know, he's got some of the most powerful leaders on the planet there, a captive audience. How much do they talk about Ukraine?
Well, Biden will want to talk about it. The others really kind of want to avoid it. You know, Western sort of enthusiasm to back Ukraine is waning. Our European allies, with the exception of Britain, they're kind of starting to cut back. They're talking about negotiations. They're talking about this. They're talking about that. The issue with Ukraine, it is a stalemate. And it's now a war of attrition. And who wins a war of attrition? The richer, bigger, more powerful country. And as long as energy prices remain high, Russia's got plenty of money. Russia exports oil and natural gas. Even if with the sanctions, they're still making plenty of money to pay for an expensive war. So the longer the war goes on, I think the more degraded Ukraine's position is in. Again, if we really wanted to win this war, turn American energy back on, bankrupt Russia, force the Russians to the negotiating table, let Ukraine win the peace that comes after the fighting stops, when we can all invest $1 trillion into rebuilding Ukraine's economy, but also having very close ties, economic ties and security ties with Ukraine.
Makes a lot of sense. He was asked yesterday, I don't think we have time to play the soundbite, but he was asked if he'll meet with President Xi. He kind of mumbled and said, you know, they'll have a conversation potentially. What do you make of that?
Guess what the conversation is?
I don't think he wants to take his phone calls right now.
Well, the problem is that China runs things. You know, Joe Biden has a very soft on China policy. They make good speeches, but they're very soft on China. And as a result, why? I mean, now we know why, because the Biden crime family is totally compromised by China. You know, the Penn Biden Center, where President Biden's giving the commencement address. So, you know, where do they get their money and funding? They get it from China.
Yeah.
So, of course, Joe Biden isn't going to call them to account.
Yeah. All right. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, KT, we appreciate you being with us. A very busy morning. Nice to see you again. Hope to see more of you as we make our way into the summer months. KT McFarland joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.